pets, vets, and are they allowed in condos and hotels? Dogs, cats, whatever, birds. And we're going to get into several topics here, some personal experience, and from what I've heard and read from other expats, various sites. As far as the biggest thing a lot of people wonder about, can I bring my dog? And I get a number of comments and emails about this throughout the years. Can I bring my dog over? And how hard is it to find a hotel or condominium that will allow it? And my observation, I've lived in Cebu City for in 6 different condominiums for 9 years. So talking about that experience, and I've looked at a couple of condominiums that said they had no pet policy, no pets allowed, and yet when I was looking at the units, I heard dogs, a couple of different dogs barking on that same hallway where I was looking, and I love dogs. I love cats, horses. I love lots of different types of animals, but I don't want a barking dog right across from me. Um, I get enough of that. I get enough of that outside my windows, even with my windows closed and 20 floors up. Still sounds like they're sitting on my balcony barking. It's that loud. Now I have. You're talking about two different things. Let's talk about condominiums first. Um, Condominiums and apartments. I think I've signed 3 of the 6 condominiums I moved into. There was a building agreement, the rules of the building, and none of those agreements said anything about animals. Although somebody may mention it, but I don't remember anybody mentioning animals. The place I live now, that was a fairly extensive agreement I signed when I moved in here, and it said nothing about animals. But then you have the lease agreement. If you have a written lease agreement with whoever you're going to rent from, that may or may not. There again, I have not had the 3 lease agreements. None of them have mentioned animals. Interesting enough. Um, for about, I think, 6, 7, 8 months by our elevator, there was signs saying they put up absolutely no pets. Now that is down now, has disappeared, and I'm pretty sure there are a number of people in the building, including the owner of the building, who lives in it, that has pets as well. As far as hotels, usually on their site or the booking sites, Booking.com, their Airbnb, that type of thing, they should list whether they're pet friendly or not. So be aware of that. Do your research and find out before you put deposits down, pay for something, then find out that your pet is not allowed. And many of you know that I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of videos of condominiums, real estate properties, and did one here a couple of weeks ago of Taft Eastgate, a brand new building, and they told me, well, yeah, we're going to allow small pets. Well, who determines what small is? And that's good for some people, not good for others. If you there again, if you got a barking dog across the hallway or very close, and you got to listen to that yipping dog half the day. There are instances in subdivisions, and I've been in a couple of those subdivisions where a dog's just roaming around, and some of those dogs are owned by the property owners, renters in there, but they just let them roam, and they usually roam in packs, has been my observation. And some of them could just come in from outside, just roaming around and looking for food or sex or whatever. Anyway, every few months I've read an article where somebody has poisoned dogs. I know somebody who's had 2 dogs poisoned over in Lapu-Lapu, um, because they were barking. Not sure. Um, one subdivision, I forget where it was. It was in the paper. security guard had quite a few complaints about dogs wandering around, and she poisoned them. And there's some common drug or something that put it in some meat that the dogs will eat, and yeah, it poisons the dogs, kills the dogs. And she admitted to it, and some of the owners, there was one owner in particular had quite a few dogs, and a lot of his dogs were poisoned and killed. And his statement was, "Well, you should have told me that it was a problem with my dogs wandering all over the subdivision." And well, you know, there's certain people should have a certain common sense that maybe they don't want your dogs wandering around shitting on their lawn, their sidewalks, their streets. I'm not condoning poisoning any animals, but at the same time, there should be some penalty, fine, or something for owners that are not responsible for their pets. My opinion only. There's also, I believe, here in Cebu City, many other cities, they're supposed to pick up the poop after their pets after they take them walking. I've never seen anybody do that. Now let's talk about veterinaries here in the Philippines. Veterinarians and costs and availability, and I even found one. I've got a number of friends with dogs and cats, and I've had some experience when their animals have been ill, helping them find a vet and getting costs. And not so long ago, we called around, and yeah, even a sick cat, in for instance, this particular cat, and had a originally I think they had actually found a veterinary who would come and do a house call to castrate him, and come over. That was 2,500, and in fact I think they worked or contracted with the city of Cebu City, I think, an animal control center there. I think that's where the contact came from. So if you're looking for something like that, there are a lot more veterinarians here in Cebu City than I thought, because you don't just walk down the street and usually see them. Oh, not very far down the street from me is probably one of the more expensive veterinary clinic and supply type thing. And I I had I helped somebody get some prescription medication, and a lot of these places they don't have it. Um, I know two medications. I think they said, oh, just go to a regular pharmacy, and you can get it there. And so some had that type of thing. It's off-label. It's what they call off-label. There are a lot of off-label drugs out there that are used for a number of different things, and they were tested and approved to do one thing, but they also work to do other things. Many of you know a certain drug. Get in trouble for mentioning Ivor, named after Ivor something like that, and if you mention it on YouTube, you might get censored. Yeah, when we help my friends with animals, I usually explain the situation to my girlfriend and have her call around to the veterinaries. Because yeah, just like at the dentist, you know, the dentist will talk to her in Bisaya about me, and then I will talk to the dentist. And when we get home and discuss it, she heard one thing, I heard a different thing. Same thing last time we went to a veterinary to ask about a certain animal, and same thing. She heard one thing in Bisaya, and as he explained it to me, I heard something uh, a bit different. So there's that. Even though it's English is the second language, and there is some communication issues with that. Yeah, and as me and my girlfriend were helping friends with animals, and I asked my girlfriend to call around and get prices and information about a number of different things, as well as when I was doing this research. So I was really surprised at the very, very wide range of prices. Like I said, there's a pretty large veterinary clinic down the street from me, maybe 2, 3 blocks. And they've got a number of places here in the Cebu metropolitan area, and they were their consultation fee was, I think, the highest of everybody. There was going to be a fee if you did a over the phone consultation. That was, I think, 500 pesos, a little less than 10 US dollars. In-house ranged, I think, anywhere from if you take an animal into the vet. And I'm not sure if a cat and dog are two different prices or the size matters, but I think the lowest price we found from one veterinary was about, I think it was 800 pesos to take an animal into there, and then some were 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000. Really wide range, and just depends upon how many people, like the place up the street here. They've got many, many, many people employed there, vets and technicians, and there's always a line of people, mostly with dogs, occasionally a cat or two, but a lot of people sitting in the waiting room with their dog, waiting to get seen. And they told me, I think they said they were open 24 hours a day, every day. Not 24 hours a day. I think 7 or 8 to 5, uh, but they're open every day of the week. Probably not holidays. And they also charged much more for castration of males and neutering of females than any of the other clinics that we contacted. And so those are things to research. Now, if you're in the province, probably going to cost a lot less. Um, One guy I talked to, I met a guy and his, I don't know if co-worker or wife. Uh, they did house calls, like I told you to. In fact, would do castrations for 2,500. Neutering, with a female, it's a little different. I think it was a little bit more for them. Included a rabies shot, but they also did. They spent a lot of time. A lot of these vets spent a lot of their time doing community service, going into a community. And I think the one guy told me, yeah, we went into this one area in the province. We did over 100 dogs and cats, neutering, spaying, castrating, rabies shots, deworming, and so that's a community service that they do in different areas. But probably not enough veterinarians to go around to do it as often as it should be done, in as many places as it should be done. And something else I've found going around helping track down medicines for various animals is that uh, you can get quite a few medicines over the counter here, even though it'll say by prescription only, by veterinary prescription only. You can get a lot of that without a prescription. Found the same thing in Vietnam. I had strep throat. I've had it so many times back in America when I lived in Minnesota every other year. I know what it feels like, and I went to a pharmacy, and lady who spoke English, Vietnamese lady, helped translate and get me some amoxicillin. And I took a couple days later. I felt much, 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 much better, and yeah, did not need a prescription as well. As far as food and other supplies, there are pet stores in the malls, and they tend to be quite expensive. last time I was at S&R, um, I did some checking of animal food prices, and like S&R, it's like Costco in the U.S., and they've got a like a Kirkland brand, and I checked some prices in the pet stores and a couple other places, and saved would save a substantial amount by buying a I think 10 kilogram, which would be 10 times 2.2. That would be 22-pound bag of dog food, cat food, and that would save substantially over what you would pay at a pet store, for instance. And yeah, the pet store for about the same thing, you'd get maybe 2 kilograms for about the same price for the same type of quality. Big difference in quality of pet foods. I think I've seen a lot more pet dogs, during the pandemic, like all over the world. People were locked away in their homes. Some places just read an article about Australia. You're not allowed out of your house. So people bought pets, and so a lot more people here also. You weren't supposed to go outside, and outside would be one of the safest, healthiest things to do, to go out and get some sun. But anyway, um, I see a lot more pets, and they've got pet grooming places in the city, probably out in the province towns as well. Last but not least, let me give you a warning. And I've been told, as I've visited a few hospitals, that animal bites is the biggest thing that they treat in these hospitals. And I have found, even some of the dogs on the street seem to be friendly, but when you approach them, they start barking. They're not interested. If you have food, throw it to them. I wouldn't get close to them. You could get rabies. I understand that the rabies shots you have to get if you get bitten are not is not a good experience. Rather painful. Um, so yeah, they're not aggressive usually, but at the same time, and they may look friendly, but they unless you have some food that you can throw at them, they're not interested in being pet. On a rare occasion, I found one come up to me and wanted to be pet, but boy, they were a little mangy. I don't know what I was if I'd catch something on my skin or what bug or fungus. Who knows? Who knows what you'd catch from them? Now I do walk quite a bit, and my own experience here in Cebu City metropolitan area is most of these dogs don't bother me, but I have had on occasion, usually later afternoon or in the evening if I'm walking, dogs seem to get more aggressive. And a number of times I was carrying pepper spray and bright flashlight seemed to be the best thing for me to use against dogs. It would confuse them, real bright flashlight, and they would back off. But I've had a pack of 4 or 5, maybe even 6 dogs. You've seen how wolves attack things. One they circle and had my umbrella out and trying to defend myself. And yeah, eventually I backed out of that situation. But the bright flashlight, I never did use any pepper spray, anything else like that, spraying at them. You could use a can of bug spray, I think. I've read that works. Hey, or bear spray. I've read that bear spray against bears, it may work, but probably isn't going to work as well. So best to carry a big gun if you're going to be in bear country. Many, many years ago, I was in northern Montana, USA, and I was looking for a place to pull over. I wanted to go hiking in the hills, mountains there, and it was right next to a lake. And there was a big old grizzly bear, so a big old grizzly bear down by the lake, and some of the people who had cabins down there had their pans out there banging pans trying to chase this grizzly away from their homes. Anyway, with my pocket knife, I decided maybe I don't want to get involved with this bear today, so I never did go hunting. I never did go hiking. Anyway, it will be interesting to hear your experiences in the comments as well. Thanks for coming along. Safe travels, and I'll see you next time.